WWE consistently creates planned TV shows every week, with most wrestlers adhering closely to predetermined scripts. While notable figures such as Randy Orton, John Cena, and Roman Reigns probably enjoy the liberty to deviate from the script without consequences, the majority of the roster must strictly adhere to their assigned roles. Straying from the script by any other wrestler could lead to disciplinary actions, including potential termination. In this edition, WrestleMania explores the stories of 11 WWE wrestlers who faced repercussions for deviating from the planned script. Number 11. Titus O'Neil. On February 8, 2016, an episode of Raw, WWE gave Daniel Bryan a chance to bid farewell to the fans. Bryan expressed his deep affection for wrestling, stating, "I have loved this in a way that I have never loved anything else." This emotional moment led fans to believe that Bryan was retiring from the squared circle for good. The atmosphere was heavy with sentiment, affecting not only the audience but also the WWE roster on the stage. Among them was Vince McMahon, who had a close relationship with Bryan. As the wrestlers made their way backstage, Titus O'Neil playfully grabbed Vince's arm, suggesting that Stephanie McMahon should exit the stage first. Vince, feeling vulnerable after Bryan's retirement, interpreted this as a potential mishap and pushed Titus away, leading to Titus's suspension for 90 days, later reduced to 60. Number 10. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. In late 2017, there were reports about Zayn and Owens getting sent home from WWE's European tour as a consequence of going off script during a SmackDown show. The original plan was for them to be defeated by the New Day after a match, but they chose to disregard that and headed back to the locker room instead. The reason behind their actions remained unclear, leaving room for speculation.
No! Sami Zayn, they have the win? Unbelievable! You gotta be kidding me!
Your winners, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn!
Some believed they might have forgotten the planned sequence, while others thought they simply didn't like the creative plans. Given the nature of the punishment, the latter seemed more probable. Surprisingly, despite the severity of the consequences, their positions on the roster remained unaffected after the incident. In a curious turn of events, Zayn and Owens went on to secure a victory over Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura at the Clash of Champions pay-per-view. Number 9. Daniel Puder. Daniel Puder learned a tough lesson about crossing Kurt Angle when, in 2004, on an episode of SmackDown, contestants from Tough Enough were tasked with a squat thrust challenge. The winner earned the chance to face Kurt Angle in a shoot-style match. After Angle swiftly defeated the initial winner, he spontaneously extended the challenge to other contestants. Surprisingly, Puder stepped up and, perhaps carried away, nearly broke Angle's shoulder in their impromptu match. Former WWE referee Jimmy Korderas disclosed that Angle deviated from the script, as he was originally meant to wrestle the challenge winner only. Korderas admitted he wasn't aware of MMA intricacies at the time, but noticed the intensity of the situation. Puder applied a Kimura lock on Angle, raising concerns among those present. The incident stirred discontent among WWE superstars, who perceived Puder's actions as disrespectful to Angle and the entire WWE. The fallout unfolded at the 2005 Rumble, where Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and Hardcore Holly took matters into their own hands, subjecting Puder to a barrage of stiff chops and suplexes before he was eventually eliminated from the match. Number 8. Big Cass. It's really uncommon in WWE for a wrestler to get fired for not following the planned script, but that's exactly what happened to Big Cass in 2018. At that time, Cass was having the biggest opportunity of his career, engaged in a major storyline with Daniel Bryan, portraying him as a top villain on the Blue brand. The feud was a significant chance for the rising star. However, during a segment featuring a mini Daniel Bryan, Cass decided to deviate from the script. While the plan was for Cass to deliver a big boot to the miniature version of Bryan, he chose to escalate the beatdown, much to the dismay of Vince McMahon. Cass faced the consequences immediately, receiving a scolding from the boss as soon as he returned backstage. Shortly after this incident, he was released from WWE, and his final match in the company was a loss to Bryan at the 2018 Money in the Bank event. Number 7. Kofi Kingston. In a wrestling match, various aspects are carefully planned out, and this includes the scripted nature of the match conclusion. A vivid example of the impact of straying from this script occurred in January 2010, during a triple threat match involving Kofi Kingston, John Cena, and Randy Orton. The intended finish was for Orton to execute a punt kick on Kofi, but an unexpected turn of events unfolded. Kofi rose too early, prompting Orton to adapt by delivering an impromptu RKO on Kofi to secure the win. Orton, understandably upset by the deviation from the plan, expressed his frustration. Although Kofi's departure from the script was unintentional, the consequences were significant. Despite being initially chosen to triumph in the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania 26, these plans were swiftly abandoned due to the mishap. Number 6. The Revival. WWE Chairman Vince McMahon has consistently emphasized that WWE goes beyond just wrestling. It's all about sports entertainment. Lately, McMahon has discouraged the use of terms like pro wrestling for WWE talent on television. When the Revival went against this directive and used the term pro wrestler without permission, Vince was displeased, and the duo faced consequences. Their punishment took the form of awkward and unfunny comedic segments, a departure from the beloved tag team fans knew from NXT. Surprisingly, these comedic episodes led Vince McMahon to envision the Revival as a full-time comedy tag team with an entirely new gimmick, intending to mock their previously decorated image. Unhappy with this direction, the Revival eventually chose to part ways with WWE and signed with rival promotion AEW, marking a significant shift in their wrestling careers. Number 5. Ric Flair and Randy Savage. The WWE title match at WrestleMania 8 was a big deal, as Ric Flair defended his title against Macho Man Randy Savage. It wasn't just about who would win the championship, but the match became controversial due to some unexpected bloodshed. At that time, WWE had a strict rule against intentional bleeding in matches, but Flair decided to break the rules and bladed during the title match. This decision led to both Flair and Savage being fined a significant amount of money by Vince McMahon. The controversy didn't end there, though. Another wrestler, Bret Hart, also had a match where he ended up bleeding, but Vince believed it was accidental and not a result of blading. Bret and his opponent, Roddy Piper, managed to escape the fine by putting on a charade in the dressing room, pretending to be upset with each other. In contrast, Flair and Savage were not as fortunate, and each received a $5,000 fine for their juice fest. Number 4. Paul London. The on-screen demise of the Mr. McMahon character in WWE stands out as one of the most talked-about storylines, sparking controversy within the wrestling community. This incident also resulted in consequences for a former WWE Tag Team Champion. In the lead-up to Mr. McMahon's apparent exit, portrayed by Vince McMahon himself, he would navigate the backstage area, passing by the entire Raw roster. The script dictated that the superstars should maintain a poker face devoid of emotion. However, Paul London chose to deviate from this script. When Vince walked by him, London broke character and sported the biggest, cheesiest grin imaginable. The humorous act, while entertaining for some, didn't sit well with WWE management. It's widely believed that this incident contributed to London's falling out of favor, eventually leading to his release the following year. Number 3. Triple H. The curtain call incident in 1996 stands out as a famous moment in the world of professional wrestling. This event unfolded at Madison Square Garden, where, after Shawn Michaels faced Diesel in the main event, Triple H and Razor Ramon entered the ring to share an embrace with them. The significance lay in the fact that Diesel and Razor had recently signed with WCW, making this a farewell ceremony among the four close friends. The incident gained notoriety for breaking the wrestling tradition of maintaining character roles, known as kayfabe. Unfortunately, only Triple H faced consequences. While Shawn Michaels, a top WWE star, seemed untouchable, Triple H saw his momentum halted. Originally slated to win the King of the Ring tournament that year, Triple H lost out to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he had to diligently work his way back up the wrestling card to regain his standing. Number 2. Daniel Bryan. When the Nexus made their first appearance on Raw in 2010, Vince McMahon, the creative mind behind it all, wanted them to wreak havoc. Wade Barrett, a member of the stable, revealed that McMahon instructed them to lead a path of destruction, urging them to make everyone follow their lead. McMahon specifically wanted them to split the wrestling ring, break tables, and even physically confront security guards, referees, Jerry Lawler, and ring announcer Justin Roberts. Post-Nexus debut, Daniel Bryan was fired for not adhering to these directives. Going off script, Bryan, also known as Daniel Bryan, took it a step too far by choking Justin Roberts with his tie. WWE deemed this act against their PG guidelines, leading to repercussions for Bryan's actions. Number 1. Batista. In 2008, WWE underwent a significant transformation, shifting towards a more family-friendly image known as PG product. This brought about several alterations in how WWE presented its shows. One notable change was the strict prohibition of any kind of blood in matches. This policy meant that if wrestlers intentionally caused themselves to bleed during matches, WWE would impose severe penalties. A notable incident occurred during Batista's world title cage match against Chris Jericho in 2008, when Batista engaged in blading. Consequently, Vince McMahon imposed a hefty fine of $100,000 on Batista. Interestingly, this punishment extended beyond Batista. Vince also took issue with Chris Jericho, the referee, and the match agent Dean Malenko. Demonstrating camaraderie, Batista generously covered the fines for everyone involved, resulting in one of the largest fines in WWE history. It's intriguing to explore these instances where wrestlers faced consequences for deviating from the scripted events in the ring. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, subscribe to our channel for more wrestling content, and stay tuned for our next installment.